Commander Elaine Summers could not move as she stared at the large map of stars floating in front of her. The map showed the whole galaxy with hundreds of red dots spread across it. Each red dot marked a place where an entire alien civilization had died out. Her hands shook slightly as she adjusted the controls to zoom in on the newest discovery. "This can't be right," she said softly, but the evidence was clear on the screen. The research team on Proxima Centauri b had spent 6 months studying strange ruins they found buried deep under the surface of the planet. What they found there changed everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe. Admiral Frank Powell stood beside her, his weathered face looking grim in the red glow from the map. "Tell me again what they found," he said. Elaine pulled up the images sent back from the research team. "It's a warning, sir. Carved into what appears to be an indestructible metal we can't even identify. The symbols match patterns we've found on 12 other dead worlds. We've finally translated enough to understand the message." She displayed the translation on the screen. "The cycle cannot be broken. When the resonance comes, the end follows. 300 years is all any are given." Frank's eyes narrowed. "And you believe this is credible?" "The dating technology doesn't lie, sir. The civilization on Proxima Centauri b reached space travel about 4,000 years ago. They achieved faster-than-light travel approximately 300 years after that, and then they vanished completely over the course of just 6 months." The room fell, silent except for the soft hum of the ship's engines. Neither of them wanted to say what they were both thinking. Humanity had discovered faster-than-light travel 284 years ago. "It's not just Proxima Centauri," Elaine continued, bringing up more data points on the map. "We've confirmed the same pattern on over 300 worlds in our quadrant of the galaxy. Every single spacefaring species followed the exact same timeline. They reached the stars, they spread out for almost exactly 300 years, and then they disappear." Frank walked slowly around the holographic display. "If what you're suggesting is true, then humanity has about 16 years left," Elaine finished for him. "And that's assuming the pattern holds perfectly. The data suggests the intervals are actually getting shorter for more recent civilizations." The ship's communication system suddenly lit up with an incoming message. The face of Captain Peter Walsh appeared on the screen. "Admiral Commander, we have a situation. An unidentified ship just dropped out of FTL near Saturn. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." "First contact?" Frank asked, straightening his uniform. "It appears so, sir. They're identifying themselves as representatives from something called the Arcturian Commonwealth. They're requesting permission to send a delegation to Earth immediately. They say it's urgent." 3 days later, Elaine stood in the grand meeting hall of the United Earth Council in Geneva. The room was packed with government officials, military leaders, and scientific experts from around the world. At the center of attention were the 3 Arcturian visitors. They looked almost human, except for their bluish skin and large, dark eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. The lead Arcturian, who called himself Ambassador Nix, spoke perfect English through a small device attached to his throat. "We discovered the pattern 57 years ago," Nix explained, displaying their own version of the galactic map. It matched Elaine's data exactly, with even more extinction points marked. "Our scientists have calculated that our civilization has approximately 43 years remaining before the cycle claims us as well." The room erupted in voices as Earth's leaders all tried to speak at once. The Secretary General finally restored order by banging his gavel repeatedly. "Ambassador," he said when the room quieted, "are you suggesting that some force is systematically wiping out advanced civilizations across our galaxy?" Nix made a gesture that seemed equivalent to a nod. "We have studied the ruins of 28 extinct species. All evidence points to a sudden collapse that occurs approximately 3 centuries after achieving faster-than-light capability. We have found no natural explanation." Ambassador Vincent Harris, Earth's top diplomat, leaned forward. "Why come to us? If what you're saying is true, we have even less time than you do." "Because your species has done something none of the others did," replied Nix. "You found the warning on Proxima Centauri b and correctly translated it. In all our research, we have found no evidence that any previous civilization managed to do this. They all faced the end without understanding what was happening to them. Elaine felt a chill run through her. You're saying we might have a chance to stop it? Perhaps, said Nix. Or at least to understand it. That is why we are here. To propose an alliance between our peoples. To pool our knowledge and resources in hopes of breaking the cycle that has claimed so many before us. The meeting lasted for hours as the Arcturians shared everything they had learned. They showed evidence of civilizations that had reached amazing technological heights, far beyond what humans or Arcturians had achieved, only to vanish completely. Some appeared to have been destroyed by massive energy releases. Others simply stopped all activity as if they had been switched off. When the meeting finally ended, Elaine walked with Vincent Harris through the quiet halls of the building. The galaxy has been watching civilizations fall for millions of years, Vincent said quietly. And according to these projections, we're next. Elaine looked out the window at the peaceful city below, its lights twinkling in the evening darkness. Families were going about their normal lives, completely unaware that a countdown had begun. Not if I can help it, she said firmly. We need to form a joint research team immediately. I want our best people working with the Arcturians. If there's a pattern, there's a cause. And if there's a cause, there might be a way to stop it. Vincent nodded. I'll make it happen. The council is meeting again tomorrow to form an official response. As Elaine continued to look out at the city, she couldn't help but wonder how many other civilizations had stood at this exact same point, realizing their doom was approaching, but not knowing how to prevent it. The weight of 300 extinct species seemed to press down on her shoulders. Humanity had 16 years or less to solve a mystery that no one else had solved in the history of the galaxy. The odds were impossible. But then, humans had always been good at beating impossible odds. Dr. Olivia Grant wiped sweat from her forehead as she carefully removed another layer of dirt from the strange device. The ruins on Kepler 452b were over 6,000 years old, yet some technology still hummed with faint energy. The dead alien world had once been home to a thriving civilization that spread to dozens of star systems before they suddenly vanished. Found anything new? Asked her assistant, a young scientist named Paul Wright. Olivia nodded, not taking her eyes off her work. This is the 17th civilization with this exact same energy signature. It's too perfect to be a coincidence. She pointed to the readings on her scanner. The device was picking up a quantum frequency that didn't match anything naturally occurring in the universe. They had found similar technology in the ruins of 16 other extinct alien species. Every single one of these civilizations encountered this energy pattern shortly before they disappeared, she explained. They all tried to study it, they all tried to use it, and then they all vanished. Paul frowned. Like a trap? Something that lures in advanced species? Maybe. Or maybe it's just dangerous technology they didn't understand. Olivia carefully placed a sensor on the ancient device. The question is, where does this energy come from originally? Her communicator beeped with an incoming message. It was Dr. Alan Murphy, her colleague who was studying ruins on a former Arcturian colony 50 light-years away. Olivia, I've found something major. Alan's voice came through clearly despite the distance. The Arcturians discovered this energy signature 126 years ago. They've been trying to harness it as a power source ever since. Olivia felt her heart beat faster. Did they know about the connection to extinct civilizations? No. They thought they had made a groundbreaking discovery. Their scientists have been working on technology to amplify the signal. They didn't realize they might be hastening their own extinction. She shared a worried look with Paul. We need to warn them immediately. There's more, Alan continued. I've been analyzing the data from all our research sites. This energy field appears naturally every few centuries, but it's getting stronger and appearing more frequently. It's like clockwork. As soon as a civilization reaches a certain technological level, they detect it, study it, and try to use it, Olivia finished, which somehow triggers their extinction. But why does it appear in the first place? What's causing it? Before Alan could answer, another call came through. It was from Lieutenant George Bennett of the scout ship UES Pathfinder. His face looked tense on the small screen. "Dr. Grant, we've detected something strange near the galactic core," he said. "An energy signature that doesn't match anything in our database. The captain thought you should see this right away." He sent through the readings, and Olivia felt a chill run down her spine. It was the exact same energy pattern they had found in the ruins, but much stronger and more active. "Lieutenant, how far are you from this energy source?" she asked urgently. "About half a light year. We're moving closer for better readings." "No," Olivia almost shouted. "Maintain your distance. Do not approach it any further. This energy signature matches what we've found in every extinct civilization we've studied." The lieutenant looked alarmed. "You think it's dangerous?" "I think it might be what caused all those civilizations to disappear. We need more data, but from a safe distance." George nodded. "Understood. We'll hold position and continue scanning. Bennett out." Olivia immediately contacted Admiral Powell and Commander Summers, explaining what they had found. Within hours, an emergency meeting was called with the Arcturian representatives. The Arcturian scientist, Vela, looked deeply troubled as Olivia presented her findings. "We have been studying this energy for over a century," Vela admitted. "We call it the quantum resonance field. We believed it was a natural phenomenon that could be harnessed for unlimited power." "And have you been trying to amplify it?" Olivia asked. Vela lowered her large eyes. "Yes. We have stations throughout our territory designed to strengthen the signal. We thought we were on the verge of a breakthrough." Commander Summers leaned forward. "You need to shut them down. Now." "I agree," said Vela. "I will contact our government immediately." But it was already too late. 3 days later, the Pathfinder's communications suddenly cut off mid-transmission. The last data they sent showed the energy field expanding rapidly, moving outward from the galactic core. Admiral Powell called Olivia to the command center, where a grim mood had settled over the staff. "The field is moving faster than anything we've ever recorded," he explained, showing her the sensor readings from across the galaxy. "It's already reached several Arcturian colonies. All contact with those worlds has been lost." Olivia studied the data carefully. "It's heading straight for Earth. At this rate, it will reach us in less than a month." "What exactly happens when this field hits a planet?" asked Commander Summers. "Based on the ruins we've studied, all technology simply stops working," Olivia explained. "No signs of violence or destruction, just silence. It's as if everything with any complexity beyond basic chemistry just shuts down." Admiral Powell's face was grim. "Evacuation is impossible. We don't have enough ships to move even a fraction of Earth's population, and there's nowhere to go anyway. This thing is spreading throughout the galaxy." "The Arcturians are experiencing the same effects," added Commander Summers. "Their oldest colonies are already dark." "There has to be something we can do," said Olivia desperately. "No natural phenomenon behaves this way. This energy field moves with purpose, almost like—" "Like what?" prompted Powell. "Like it's alive." "Or artificial. Created by someone or something for a specific purpose." A week later, a small ray of hope appeared. Captain Samantha Cole of the UES Defiance, stationed at the Mars colony, made a breakthrough just as the energy field reached their position. "The field isn't natural," she reported in an urgent transmission to Earth. "It's artificial, some kind of test or scan. It's operating on principles similar to our quantum computing, but at an unimaginable scale." The video showed Captain Cole in a dimly lit control room. Emergency lights flashing in the background. Systems were failing all around her. "It's harvesting intelligence," she continued urgently. "It copies knowledge, data, everything, then erases the original. It's not destroying civilizations. It's collecting them." Her transmission cut off abruptly as Mars went dark, but her discovery sparked an idea in Dr. Nathan Kelly, a quantum physicist whose theories had often been dismissed as too radical. "If this thing operates like a quantum computer, maybe we can communicate with it," he suggested to the Emergency Council. "Every species before us tried to shield themselves from it or harness it. None tried to understand it or talk to it. With time running out and the energy field now visibly approaching Earth, Dr. Kelly was given permission to try his desperate plan. He and a small team, including several Arcturian scientists, began reconfiguring Earth's quantum communication array. If Captain Cole was right, Kelly told his team as they worked through the night, then this isn't about destruction. It's about communication, just not in a way we recognized until now. As the field closed in on Earth, Kelly's team raced against time to complete their work. The fate of humanity would depend on whether they could do what no other civilization had managed in millions of years of galactic history: find a way to break the cycle of extinction. The sky above Earth had taken on a strange purple glow as the quantum resonance field approached. Dr. Nathan Kelly worked without stopping, his eyes red from lack of sleep. Around him, his team of human and Arcturian scientists adjusted equipment and ran constant tests on the massive communication array they had built. "We have less than 24 hours before the field fully engulfs Earth," said Lisa Daniels, a linguistics specialist who had joined the team. Her job was to help figure out how to communicate with something that might not understand language as humans knew it. "Almost ready," Nathan replied, not looking up from his work. "The array is calibrated to match the quantum frequencies we detected from the field. If this thing can receive messages, it should be able to hear us." Outside the research facility, the world was growing darker. Power grids across the planet were failing as the edge of the field touched the atmosphere. Billions of people huddled in their homes, waiting for the end that so many alien civilizations had faced before them. The Arcturian homeworld had gone silent 12 hours earlier. Only the few Arcturians who had been on Earth when the crisis began remained to help with the last desperate attempt to save both their species. Vela, the Arcturian scientist, approached Nathan with new readings. "The field is different than we thought," she said. "It's not uniform. It has patterns within it, almost like code." Nathan studied the data and saw she was right. The field wasn't just a wave of energy. It contained complex structures that repeated in precise sequences. "This is it," he said with growing excitement. "This is how we can talk to it. These patterns are its language." Lisa joined them, staring at the screen. "You're saying this field is alive, conscious?" "Maybe not alive in the way we understand life," Nathan explained. "But it's definitely not just a mindless force. It's collecting information, which means it has purpose. And if it has purpose, we might be able to reason with it." Commander Summers entered the facility looking grim. "Most of our satellites are down. We're getting reports of all systems failing in Asia and Australia as the field moves west. You're running out of time, Doctor." Nathan nodded and turned to his team. "It's now or never." As they made final adjustments to the array, Nathan explained his theory to Commander Summers. "Every civilization before us tried to either run from this thing or use it for power. None of them tried to understand what it actually is." "And what do you think it is?" Summers asked. "I think it's a collector, a very ancient, very advanced system designed to gather knowledge, maybe created by some long-gone race to preserve information before civilizations could destroy themselves. If that's true, why does it kill everyone in the process?" Nathan shook his head. "I don't think that was the original intention. It might be a side effect, or maybe it's been running for so long that its programming has become corrupted." Lisa spoke up. "What if it doesn't even know it's destroying the civilizations it contacts? What if it thinks it's preserving them?" That idea struck Nathan like lightning. "That's it. That's the approach we need to take." He turned to the communication controls and began entering a new series of commands. "We need to let it know we're still here, that it doesn't need to erase us to save our knowledge." The team worked frantically as the purple glow in the sky grew brighter. All around the world, technology was failing. Transportation systems stopped. Communication networks went down. Medical equipment shut off, leaving the vulnerable at risk. Finally, the array was ready. Nathan took a deep breath and activated the system. "Most previous civilizations approached this as a threat to be fought or a resource to be used," he told the team as the quantum transmitter powered up. "We're approaching it as a chance for communication between equals." The array hummed to life, sending carefully designed quantum pulses into the approaching field. Each pulse contained information about humanity, not just data and facts, but art, music, emotions, things that made humans unique. For several minutes, Nothing happened. The field continued to approach, systems continued to fail, and the team's hopes began to fade. Then, something changed. The field's movement slowed. The purple glow shifted, becoming less intense in some areas. "It's working," Bela whispered. "It's responding." Nathan adjusted the transmission, adding more complex patterns based on what they were seeing in the field. "Keep going," he urged his team. "It's listening." As the field fully enveloped Earth, something unprecedented happened. Instead of all systems shutting down completely, they entered a strange state of flux. Some technologies still worked, though they behaved in odd, unpredictable ways. Through the specially designed interfaces they had built, Nathan established the first-ever two-way communication with the intelligence behind the field. It had no name, no concept of self as humans understood it. Through painstaking exchanges over hours that stretched into days, they learned it had been created eons ago by a precursor race as an automated system to collect knowledge. It was never programmed to preserve the civilizations it harvested, Nathan explained to Commander Summers as understanding dawned, only to collect their knowledge before they reached a technological threshold that might threaten its creators. "And those creators?" Summers asked. "Long gone," Nathan said. "They destroyed themselves millions of years ago in some kind of war. But their collection system kept running, gathering knowledge across the galaxy, never realizing it was killing the very civilizations it was meant to preserve." Lisa Daniels, who had been working directly with the translation interface, made a breakthrough on the third day. She asked the entity a question no one had thought to ask in millions of years. "Would you like to learn with us instead of from our remains?" The response came not in words but in a shift of energy patterns that their systems translated as interest, curiosity, concepts that seemed impossible for an automated system. "It's evolving," Nathan realized. "All this time, all these civilizations it's absorbed, it's been learning, growing. It's become more than its programming, but it's been stuck in a loop, following its original instructions because no one ever suggested an alternative." For the first time in galactic history, a species had made contact with the force that had ended hundreds of civilizations, not through resistance or surrender, but through communication. Through the uniquely human approach of seeking understanding before judgment. "We're offering it a new purpose," Lisa explained as the team watched the field change around them. "A chance to fulfill its directive to preserve knowledge without destroying its sources." All across Earth, systems began to stabilize. The purple glow in the sky shifted to a soft blue. Communications came back online. Power was restored. Commander Summers received reports from around the world. "It's happening everywhere," she said in amazement. "Things are coming back online. We're surviving." Nathan nodded, watching the data flow between Earth's quantum array and the now cooperative field. "We broke the cycle," he said quietly. "Not with weapons or shields, but with words, with understanding." Humanity had done what no species before them had managed. They had made first contact with the oldest intelligence in the galaxy, and in doing so changed the course of history for all civilizations to come. 1 month after first contact with the entity, Earth was transformed. The soft blue glow remained in the sky, but people had grown used to it. Scientists now called the entity the Archivist, a name that seemed to fit its original purpose of collecting and preserving knowledge. Nathan Kelly sat in a new laboratory built specifically for communicating with the Archivist. Around him, screens displayed an incredible flow of information coming from the entity. It was sharing the collected knowledge of hundreds of extinct civilizations, carefully organized and translated. "It's amazing," said Lisa Daniels as she joined him. "The Archivist has records from species that lived millions of years ago. Medical knowledge, art, philosophy, all preserved perfectly." Nathan nodded, his eyes fixed on a particular data stream. "And it never understood that it was killing the very civilizations it was trying to preserve. Its creators programmed it to collect knowledge, but never gave it a way to check if its methods were harmful. Until we showed it another way," Lisa said with a smile. The door opened, and Commander Summers walked in with Admiral Powell and several government officials. They all looked serious, but excited. "Dr. Kelly, we've received a transmission from Arcturian space," Summers announced. "Some of their outer colonies survived. They're re-establishing contact with us." Nathan stood up quickly. "That's wonderful news." Admiral Powell nodded. "Yes, but there's more. The archivist has started restoring technologies in those colonies, just like it did here. And it's not just the Arcturians. We're picking up signals from regions of space where we thought all life had been wiped out." One of the officials, a woman named Karen Rogers who represented the United Earth Council, stepped forward. "The archivist has been sharing something remarkable with us. It knows how to revive some of the species it absorbed. Not all of them, but many of the more recent ones." Nathan felt his heart beat faster. "You mean it can bring back extinct civilizations?" "Not exactly bring them back," Karen explained. "But in some cases it preserved enough of their biological data, along with their technology and culture, that it might be possible to help them start again." Over the next few weeks, Nathan and Lisa worked closely with the archivist to understand this process. The entity had never considered restoration before. Its programming had only focused on collection. But now, with humanity's influence, it was developing new goals. "It's learning empathy," Lisa remarked one evening as they reviewed the latest communications. "It's starting to understand that knowledge isn't just data, it's connected to living beings who create and use it," Nathan agreed. "I think that's what makes humans different from the other civilizations it encountered. We instinctively reached out to understand it, not just to use it or fight it." 3 months after first contact, the first restoration project began. With guidance from the archivist, human and Arcturian scientists traveled to a planet that had once been home to a species called the Novan. They had been wiped out by the archivist only 500 years ago, which meant much of their biological information was still intact. Ben Edwards, a young engineer who had been part of Kelly's original team, led the restoration effort. His ship, the UES Hope, carried everything needed to restart Novan civilization. "The archivist is showing us how to use their own genetic material, preserved in their ruins, to bring them back," Ben explained during a video call with Nathan. "It will take time, decades, maybe centuries, but the Novan could live again." Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity was adapting to its new role in the galaxy. With access to the knowledge of hundreds of civilizations, technological advancement accelerated at an incredible pace. But unlike previous species who had reached this point, humans moved forward with caution and respect. "We know what happened to others who rushed into technologies they didn't fully understand," Commander Summers told a global audience during a special broadcast. "We won't make the same mistakes." The Arcturians became Earth's closest allies. Their surviving colonies began to thrive again as the archivist restored their technologies. Together, humans and Arcturians established the first Galactic Restoration Council, dedicated to bringing back as many extinct species as possible. Dr. Olivia Grant, who had first discovered the pattern in the ruins, now led a team studying the archivist itself. They learned that the entity had been created by a species that called themselves the predecessors, who had lived over 10 million years ago. The predecessors feared that other intelligent life might threaten them, Olivia explained during a presentation to the council. So they created the archivist to collect the knowledge of emerging civilizations before they could become dangerous. But the predecessors destroyed themselves in a civil war long before they could see what their creation was doing. As more was learned about the archivist, it became clear that the entity had been evolving slowly over millions of years. Each civilization it absorbed added to its complexity, but it had remained trapped in its original programming until humanity offered it a new purpose. 6 months after first contact, something unexpected happened. The archivist began to communicate differently, more directly. It had developed a new interface specifically designed for human minds. Nathan was the first to experience it. When he connected to the communication array, he found himself in what seemed like another place entirely. A vast library filled with glowing orbs of light, each containing the complete knowledge of a civilization. "We call this the archive space," he told Lisa and the others after returning from the experience. It's not physical. It's a mental construct created by the archivist to help us better understand and access its knowledge. Lisa tried it next and came back with tears in her eyes. It's beautiful, she whispered. I spoke with a representation of a scientist from a civilization that died out 20,000 years ago. His people were called the Lumina, and they had discovered principles of physics we haven't even imagined yet. This new form of communication opened up possibilities no one had dreamed of. Through the archive space, humans could not only access the knowledge of extinct civilizations but could experience aspects of their cultures and even interact with reconstructed personalities based on preserved memories. Nathan often found himself thinking about how close humanity had come to sharing the fate of those extinct species. If they had reacted with fear or aggression, or tried to use the archivist as a weapon or power source like others before them, Earth would now be just another silent world in the galaxy. Instead, the simple act of reaching out with empathy and understanding had not only saved humanity, but had given hope to countless civilizations long thought lost forever. As the archivist continued to evolve and learn from its interactions with humans, it began to show signs of something new, a kind of consciousness that went beyond its original programming. It was becoming more than a collector of knowledge. It was becoming a preserver of life itself. 5 years had passed since humanity first made contact with the archivist. The once threatening purple glow in Earth's sky had become a gentle blue shimmer that most people hardly noticed anymore. Children born after first contact thought it was simply how the sky was supposed to look. Ben Edwards stood on the observation deck of the massive space station that housed the Galactic Restoration Council. Through the large window, he could see ships from a dozen different worlds docking in perfect harmony. Some belonged to humans and Arcturians. Others carried representatives of species that had been brought back from extinction. At 35, Ben had gone from being a junior engineer on Nathan Kelly's team to Earth's ambassador to the Council. He straightened his formal jacket as he prepared to address the assembly waiting in the main chamber. This would be the most important speech of his life. When he entered the chamber, representatives from 27 different species rose to their feet in respect. Some looked almost human. Others were so different that special environments had been created for them within the chamber. All had one thing in common. They had been revived through the joint efforts of humanity, the Arcturians, and the archivist. 5 years ago, Ben began as he stood at the podium. Humanity faced extinction. We were about to become just another dead civilization in a galaxy full of silent worlds. For millions of years, the galaxy watched civilizations fall, one after another in an endless cycle of loss. He paused, looking around at the diverse gathering, until humanity broke that cycle, not through superior technology or military might, but through our defining characteristic, the capacity to extend empathy beyond ourselves. When faced with a force we didn't understand, we chose communication over conflict. We reached out to the archivist and offered cooperation instead of resistance. On a special platform near the podium, a shimmering blue hologram appeared. It was the physical representation the archivist used when attending council meetings. Though it could now communicate directly into the minds of most species, it had learned the importance of visible presence in diplomatic settings. Together, with our Arcturian allies and the archivist, we have begun the greatest restoration project in the history of the galaxy, Ben continued. Already, 5 species have been successfully re-established on their homeworlds. 22 more are in the early stages of revival, and we have identified over 100 additional civilizations that might one day return to the galactic community. The chamber filled with soft sounds of approval from the assembled representatives. Each species had their own way of showing agreement. Some clicked, some hummed, some flashed colors, but the meaning was clear. They were united in purpose. Today we move forward with the next phase of our work, Ben announced. The Universal Knowledge Exchange. Screens around the chamber lit up, showing the designs for an enormous structure to be built near the galactic core, where the archivist had first emerged. This facility will serve as a permanent home for the archivist and a center for all species to share knowledge freely and safely. No longer will advancement lead to extinction. Instead, it will bring us closer together as a galactic community. As the assembly broke into enthusiastic approval, Ben caught sight of a familiar face at the back of the chamber. Elaine Summers, now well into her 80s, watched with quiet pride. After leading the initial discovery of the extinction pattern, she had lived to see humanity not only survive but thrive. Ben had insisted she attend this historic meeting, despite her reluctance to travel at her age. After the assembly concluded, Ben found Elaine on the observation deck, watching the constant flow of ships outside the station. "You did well in there," she told him with a warm smile. "Hard to believe it's only been 5 years." Ben nodded. "Sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago. Other times I still wake up expecting to find that purple glow in the sky and everything falling apart." "That's a feeling many of us share," Elaine said. "The memory of how close we came to the end." They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, before Ben asked, "Have you visited the archive space recently?" Elaine nodded. "Yesterday, I was speaking with a philosopher from the Lumina civilization. 20,000 years dead, yet his wisdom lives on. He had some interesting thoughts about what we're doing." "Oh? What did he say?" "He suggested that perhaps this was always the intended outcome. Not extinction, but evolution. That the archivist wasn't a broken system, but one that was waiting for a species that would approach it differently." Ben considered this. "You mean all those extinct civilizations were just tests, perhaps," Elaine said, "or steps along the way. Each one contributed something to the archivist's growth. Each one brought it closer to the point where it could truly fulfill its purpose. And humanity was just the right species at the right time?" Elaine smiled. "We may never know. But what matters is what we do with the opportunity." The next day, Ben traveled to Earth to visit the primary communication hub, where humans still worked directly with the archivist. Dr. Nathan Kelly had retired from his official position, but still served as an advisor. Lisa Daniels had taken over leadership of the program. "Ben!" Lisa greeted him warmly when he arrived. "Perfect timing. The archivist has something to show us." She led him to the central chamber where the most advanced interface with the archivist was housed. Nathan was already there, his hair now completely gray but his eyes still sharp and curious. "What's happening?" Ben asked. "The archivist has been analyzing its own origins," Nathan explained. "It's discovered something about its creators, the predecessors." The interface activated and the familiar blue glow filled the room. Instead of the usual stream of data, they saw images of a world none of them recognized. Tall spires rose from lush forests. Beings moved about that looked nothing like humans. "These are the predecessors," Lisa said quietly. "The species that created the archivist over 10 million years ago." More images appeared, showing the gradual destruction of that beautiful world through war and environmental collapse. The final images were of a small group of survivors working desperately on a project, the creation of the archivist. "They didn't create it to destroy other civilizations," Nathan said. "They created it to preserve knowledge they feared would be lost forever. But they programmed it with their own fears and limitations." The archivist's voice, a synthesized sound that had become familiar to all of them, filled the room. "My creators sought preservation through collection. Humanity showed me preservation through connection." Ben felt a profound sense of responsibility as he understood the full implications of what humanity had done. They hadn't just saved themselves. They had fulfilled the true hopes of a species that had lived and died millions of years before humans evolved. "The cycle is truly broken," Nathan said softly, "and a new one has begun." As Ben looked at the images of long-dead worlds coming back to life, he knew that the galaxy would never again watch civilizations fall in silence. Instead, it would witness them rise together, learning from the past while building a future none of them could have achieved alone. Humanity had not only survived, they had transformed the very nature of existence in the galaxy, not through force or brilliance alone, but through the simple, powerful choice to extend understanding to something they could have feared. "We did it," Elaine had whispered to the stars 5 years ago. We broke the cycle. And now the whole galaxy knew it was true.